Senator Williams.
Thank you, Mr Acting Deputy President. Mr Acting Deputy President, I rise tonight to talk about a business in my local town, Bindaree Beef. In the mid-1990s, the town of Inverell in northern New South Wales was facing a bleak future. Northwest Exports Abattoirs, owned by the Smorgon family, closed down, throwing hundreds of people out of work. The abattoir was the district's largest employer, but from time to time was affected by strikes and also poor water supply. The busiest place in town after the closure was the Commonwealth Employment Service, as men and women of all ages registered for jobs that just didn't exist in a town that was then around 10,000 people. The processing plant was old and in much need of refurbishment, so it seemed a forlorn hope that it would ever be reopened. Then thankfully along came the McDonald family, more particularly John McDonald, or JR as everyone knows him. JR admits he was warned not to touch Inverell. There were too many problems. But if there's one thing I have learned in the years I've known JR McDonald, he's never walked away from the tough decisions or challenges. And so the name Bindaree Beef suddenly became a part of Inverell's business life. The abattoir reopened and people were invited to apply for jobs, but it was made clear to all and sundry that if you wanted a job, you had to be a drug and alcohol free. The work was hard and it was all about teamwork. That was 20 years ago, Mr Acting Deputy President, and there have been plenty of times when JR and his family must have wondered whether it was all worth it. The plant was old, finance was hard to get to modernise the plant, the costs were crippling. But they never gave up, and today Bindaree Beef employs in excess of 800 people, I think around 850. That's not taking into account all the people who depend on their existence, such as the cattle producers, stock agents, trucking companies, even job agencies. In those 20 years, Mr Acting Deputy President, Bindaree Beef has processed 5.2 million cattle, employed over 7,000 people, paid over $750 million in wages and salaries. That's that's $750 million. Returned to cattle producers have topped $5 billion. There have been 225,000 truck movements in and out of the meatworks, and beef is exported to 70 countries. JR McDonald from day one has been a strong advocate for the cattle producer. Countless times he has said that his business will not exist if beef producers don't make money and therefore stay in business. He also has been a regular contributor to parliamentary inquiries, giving his view as to where the red meat industry could do better. The company is undertaking a major development with the building of its biodigester plant at its Inverell site. It will be a highly effective waste treatment system that will produce biogas and liquid fertiliser, generating power and steam for on-site use. The biodigester will use less electricity and steam. In recent months, Bindaree Beef has made some exciting announcements. In July, Bindaree merged with the meat marketing and distribution company Sanger, closely followed by the $25 million purchase of Myola feedlot at North Star, which is to the north of Warrialda. The merger with Sanger allows processing integration with sales, and the acquisition of the feedlot gives them a level of control over their beef supply. In October, Bindaree was delighted to announce that a Chinese partner has been found to inject $140 million into the business, which is a 45% stake. The $140 million will be mostly spent at the Inverell plant on technology changes in freezing, chilling and boning. This opens up a whole new world for Bindaree Beef. Bindaree's Chief Financial Officer, James Rogers, credited the Australian Government's determination to open up market access in China as playing a valuable role in Bindaree's Shandong-Delhi Food Company alliance. He said Bindaree had been involved in a number of trade delegations led by Minister Barnaby Joyce and Andrew Robb, and along with the free trade agreement, this has led to a better understanding of the Chinese market. Last Saturday night we had a function celebrating 20 years of Bindaree Beef, Mr Acting Deputy President. About 250 people attended. I'd like to congratulate the McDonald family for the magnificent job they've done establishing this meatworks over 20 years. They've certainly been through some dry gullies. I congratulate JR McDonald and his spouse Norma, his wife Norma, Andrew and Elise, JR and Norma's son, and also Kerry Newton, their daughter, with husband John. They've done a magnificent job competing in a very tough industry against the multinationals, JBS Swift, Tees Cargill, Nippon multinationals, and this family-owned works has just been so tremendous for our town. 850 people employed. They're bidding at the stock markets, money into the farmers, the beef producers' pockets, and I commend them for the magnificent job they've done and I hope they keep it going.